listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. Today, we're going to talk about practicality versus perfection. Which is the right way? Which is the right way for you? What happens when being practical and being perfect are both right? This issue is hidden in a lot of other beliefs and norms that we take for granted, but has a profound effect on your life. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. All right, Jason, I know we all struggle with this idea of practicality versus perfection.
Yes.
Okay. What is the most important part of this concept?
I think the most important idea is choosing between practicality versus perfection is free will versus programming.
Oh.
And in many situations, you believe you're choosing the best way for you.
Yes.
But that choice, if it comes from programming, is it really a choice? And obviously, we're saying it's not. Okay. Being perfect according to your programming is not necessarily perfect for you at the level of your essence.
Correct.
This is a huge deal. And in a way, I think you try and make titles that are provocative that people find interesting. And I'm not sure this was an interesting, provocative topic. But,
but I think the information is really provocative.
The information is really interesting. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
The ecosystem approach is all about being practical with most things except for one.
Okay, which is?
The need to be perfect in alignment with your essence. That's what we're striving for. That's what we're trying to get to, because that's from there, being organic and natural in the world comes from being in alignment with your essence.
Well, and then it becomes natural and you have an innate understanding of what's right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now the other things are more worldly. You're raised to tell the truth. Well, do you tell the truth all the time? You're raised to be honest. Well, sometimes honesty can be hurtful.
Very much.
You're raised to. There's all sorts of things that we can talk about with that. But
and we're going to talk about a few of them today.
Here's the thing that I think is the most important for this whole topic.
Okay.
When we look at the world, we see that it's very broken and dysfunctional.
Yes.
There's negative energy, what we call dark energy, on both sides.
Meaning good and bad, or right and wrong, that kind of thing, both sides?
That's one, both sides.
Okay.
Male, female.
Okay.
Democrat, Republican.
Okay.
Democracies, even dictatorships.
Okay.
There's always on both sides. Now you think there's, we're going to talk about this too, but even with global warming, not people don't agree.
And they sure don't.
And they talk about, well, oh my gosh, there's a big problem, but then we don't agree about what's the best way, what's the most practical way, what's all those things.
What's the most inexpensive way, that kind of thing. I know that's a big deal with all of that global warming.
Exactly. So in general, you can't fix what's broken all at once. We see that's very clear to us.
Yes.
That negative energy just doesn't go away. You just can't just say, oh, that's negative energy, take it away.
Well, and I do want
because we understand energy. Energy doesn't work that way.
exactly.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's exactly what I was
Yeah.
going to say. Because we don't understand energy. And by the way, the we that we're talking about, we as a group of people, we
as a culture,
we don't understand what's the best way. But the reason I'm going to jump in and say the reason we don't understand what's the best way, not only for say global warming, I'll use that as the example, but clear down to what's the best way for us or me individually, is because that negative energy, that dark energy that we talk about, it gets in the way and blocks us. When we talk about blocks, removing blocks, we're talking about removing a block or something that keeps us from seeing the entire situation or the entire whatever we're trying to fix.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes. And without seeing that, because that negative energy is there, not only blocks us from seeing it, but it blocks us from the action that we need to take.
That's exactly, well, I was thinking that was the next step, but yes, exactly right. That's exactly right.
You know, most issues that people have when they come to us is about trying to be perfect with their programming.
Yeah.
Versus trying to be true to themselves.
That's true. That is absolutely true.
You know, I'm trying to be who I am in a marriage, or I'm trying to be who I am out in the world. But then, you know, I took this job that doesn't really suit me because my parents thought it was a good idea.
Right.
And then I don't know who I am. I don't have any idea who I am if I don't follow those quote unquote perfect rules that come from my family.
The programming rules.
And
yes.
It might not be your family, it might be your social group.
Of course.
You know, maybe in your social group, you had to grow up to be a lawyer, a doctor, or a politician, and you want to just join the Peace Corps and live simply. I mean, those types of things, those kind of perfections is what we're really talking about today.
Yes. I agree.
There's all these people out there that'll say, this is the right way. And I want you to follow my form of perfection.
Right.
Well, that almost never works, especially if you don't know who you are, which often comes from programming and years and years and years of programming, not only from your family, but from your culture.
That's correct.
From your social group. And this can be really, really difficult. And when you understand that dark energy is always on both sides.
Yes.
It doesn't have a side. It doesn't have
it doesn't care as long as it's creating havoc and misery and those kind of things.
A better way of saying that, we did a whole show about this.
Okay.
But the purpose of dark energy is to block each individual's evolution.
That's correct.
And then our collective evolution.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in and say one of the most important things we can do is to start with ourselves to get unblocked.
Yes.
So that we can be evolved enough to not only help ourselves, but to help someone else or a situation or a group. Or, I mean, you start small and you go big.
Right.
That kind of thing.
But starting with yourself it can be a lifelong thing.
Absolutely.
And we talked about one being practical and perfect are both right. And what do you do?
Yes.
So context is important there.
Yes.
And let's talk about that right now.
Okay.
A great example would be global warming.
Okay.
And I'm gonna reduce that down to where we live.
Okay.
We have a house where we have a lot of propane appliances.
Correct.
Because we have our own propane tank here. It's not piped in like most places.
Right.
And
like when you live in the city.
Yes.
Yes.
And we have a lot of power outages.
Yeah.
So in a power outage, if I didn't have heat for mom, who's 93,
correct,
that could be a big deal.
Yes.
If I didn't have hot water,
correct,
that would be a big deal.
And if you didn't have air conditioning.
Yeah. Or even be able to cook.
That's correct.
We have all those things. We have kind of redundancy, and propane is a greenhouse gas.
That's correct.
But it's cleaner than a lot of people around here burn wood.
Yes.
Because it's plentiful, and even that it's not perfect. Burning wood can be polluting, but where we are, we have a lot of trees that have fallen down because of the drought. because of global warming.
Yes.
So
exactly.
you can take those trees and reuse them for heat
That's
in
correct.
a way that's very efficient.
That's
It
correct.
just, there's no perfection.
That's correct.
And when you're talking about global warming and fixing all the things, there's no perfect solution, because you can't implement it just like that. It's doesn't work that way.
That's true. But I would say the perfection of fixing it, starting to fix it, starts within.
Yes.
Starts with you.
That's where you can be perfect. If you love being perfect, if you love when 2 + 2 always equals 4,
yes,
when you want that line just to line up, and by the way, that's a compulsion that usually comes from negative energy,
right?
That need to be, straighten the mirror. And by the way, we have a mirror over here that is always crooked. I need to fix that. That's my negative energy compulsion. Yes. So just saying, but there is no real perfection
that was good.
in this world.
Yes.
And usually when we fight anymore, it's usually about rare. Stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And it's about your rules trying to be perfect that came from someplace that I have no idea where.
I'll tell you right out of the gate, my family. So and we're going to talk a little bit more about those kind of things in just a few minutes. Jason, what's a quick tip for this segment?
As intuitives, we see the world as it is, not as we would like it to be. So we see all the negative energy, and since working with energy is not commonplace in our culture, real perfection is difficult to impossible.
Yes.
Being practical about these circumstances makes the most sense. However, for the individual having the intention to be in alignment with their essence, this perfection is what you need to strive for.
Yes.
When people are programmed for perfection based on values, morals or beliefs, it's never real perfection. And the most important is to be true to yourself, which is being perfect with your essence.
Exactly. In the next segment, we're going to talk about the area most people have the greatest struggles with perfection versus practicality. It's with family and the rules around family. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show, unscripted, with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Emma. And in this segment, we're going to talk about the area most people have the greatest struggles with, perfection versus practicality. It's with family and the rules around family. And by the way, Jason put this one in here because of me.
Actually, it's really common. And
it really is. So
it's a big deal.
Well, then, Jason, can you explain what you mean by perfection when it comes to family?
We learn values, beliefs, and morals growing up with our family.
Yes, of course.
That just sounds right? But if there's hypocrisy or lying in that family system, what do you do? What if there are beliefs and rules that are very toxic for you personally, that you can see when you're growing up, or even if you can't see it when you're growing up?
And then when you see them, once you leave that family unit, I'll say it that way, and you come back and you go, oh my gosh, that kind of thing. Yes.
I think I think around here, we live in a very conservative area, and
we do.
But we notice that there are a lot of really strong families, and this is from that ranching lifestyle.
Yes,
where you grow up and the kids help on the ranch.
Everybody pitches in. That's the rule.
Everybody works, and they work together, and they become really close.
That's true.
We had some tree work done the other day, and we heard about the guy who was running the
crew.
Yeah, it was one of the heavy equipment.
Chippers.
It wasn't the chipper. It was a hand that the grapple. It's called the grapple.
That's right.
And pulling up big logs and whatnot.
Yeah.
But he started doing this when he was 12.
Right.
Because he didn't want to go to school. And his dad said, okay, well, if you're not going to go to school, you have to learn a trade.
You have to work.
and I think he was 25, and he's really good at it. He's got
Amazing.
a lot of
Yes.
expertise.
Yes.
We understand that it makes perfect sense. But I know there are people out there that says, well,
Why
that works when everybody is in alignment with that system.
right.
But what happens if one of the family members has a sexuality that is different than what is accepted in that family?
Correct.
Then all of a sudden, this really strong family, all these values, beliefs, and morals,
That's correct.
can be really toxic for those people. I think about that. I've heard so many stories about families rejecting their own children, because they weren't in the norm.
Yes.
And that is so sad. Or even someone who's lives on a ranch, and they want to be an artist.
Oh, things
that's
like that.
much
Sure.
more mild,
Yes,
or
yes.
they were trained in one way, but they want to be another way.
Right.
That's when it all starts to break down. So
Right.
those beliefs and rules are toxic.
Correct.
Unless you know who you're talking to, who you're working with.
Well,
and most people don't know that.
Well, and the hardest thing
even with their own kids.
Exactly. That's
yeah.
We are programmed to believe that if we don't think like the rest of the group, and I'm going to say it that way,
yeah,
that there's something wrong with us.
Yes.
That there's something that that doesn't that we don't fit in. Well, the problem is, if you back up and look at it, maybe it's that family that doesn't fit in.
Yes.
But you don't know that until if
you're in the family.
If you're in the family,
if you know it,
what can you do about it?
If you program that way,
that's right.
You struggle with it, even if you know it's not right.
Exactly.
Some of the rules and beliefs that come from programming that aren't truth. Okay.
Yes.
Your family will always have your back, and they're the ones you can trust the most. That's just not true.
No.
And people struggle with that one so much.
Right.
This is we've heard this so many times. When the father goes off, or the father goes away for a while, he'll say to his son, "Take care of your mother. You're the man of the house now."
Yeah.
Well, really, many young boys could never, or should never be reasonably expected to have that kind of responsibility.
Right.
And that creates that's telling the son that the mother can't be trusted because she's too fragile. She can't be in charge.
Yes.
So many of those things that we just take for granted can be really, really toxic.
Well, there's a song that Carly Simon did. Legend in Your Own Time.
Yeah.
And
one of my favorites.
It's really, really, really interesting, the whole song. If you get a chance, listen to it sometime. Because one of the lines in the song is, the legend is only it's only a lonely boy when he goes home.
And the song is about a mother who had expectations that he would grow up to be a lawyer or a doctor.
Yes, exactly.
And all of a sudden he becomes a songwriter and a singer-songwriter.
Exactly. And so it's pretty incredible.
And I think the rumor is it was about Cat Stevens.
That's what
if you want to know those kind of details.
That's the way I understood it. Yes. But the bottom line is that when somebody else has expectations about what you are going to do with your life, this creates a form of having you doubt yourself, so to speak.
Trauma, stress, anxiety.
Exactly. And it's not right.
I had this session one time where the woman spent most of the time telling me how awful his sister was. She did this and she did this and she did this. And toward the end I said, well, why do you have to connect with your sister? And I remember it so much. It was kind of a whine, like, but she's my sister. It's like, how could you even imagine suggesting that to me?
Correct.
Because the programming is,
yes,
which may not be correct.
Correct.
That you have to, that when your family, you have to have a sense of loyalty no matter what.
Well, and I can say this. One of the very biggest things that I struggled with when I first started removing negative energy was the loyalty to my family. And I said, there's no way, I will never touch that. But when I started removing negative energy, I could then see that the loyalty that I was taught in my family was not the loyalty that I thought it was.
Some of the biggest toxic manipulations,
yes,
even evil and dark energy, is when you have deathbed expectations that is put upon a person. When someone's dying and they say, "Oh, promise me you'll do blah 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 blah."
I not only had it with one sister, I had it with another sister as well. My mother on her deathbed said exactly those words to me, and I have to tell you, it left such a huge burden for me. It was one of the things that, in fact, that was what we started clearing because of that, about that loyalty.
And if you had done the ecosystem approach, and if I was there, and I wasn't, okay, but being your advocate, I would have said, well, hey, Mom, what about her life?
Yeah.
How come,
meaning my life.
Yeah. Why are you handing this mess off? There's all these other people in the family. Why are you handing this mess off to Patricia? And what did you do about it while you were alive?
And the answer is she did nothing. But I got the best answer I got, meaning the best reasoning I got, which wasn't true at all, was I asked my stepfather after my mother had passed that question: why did she hand this to me? And he said, because she knew you would take care of it. She knew you would do it.
Yeah.
No matter what.
But if you kind of unwrap that, that's really toxic. That's cruel. It's almost,
in other words, they could have a life, but I wasn't allowed to have the life that I wanted.
Yes. And it affected your whole life.
It did.
It affected a lot of our life,
yes,
when we got together.
And we have done amazing clearing around it. So
there's another category here that I want to bring up. There are a lot of expectations in work families.
Yes.
Police, military, medical, political parties.
Yeah.
Even small town, they become very clannish and say, okay, these are the expectations.
Right.
This is October of 2023, but the Speaker of the House was just fired because he did what the framers of the Constitution expected, which was for people to come together and compromise, and both political parties to work together and to for the greater good of the country. And they fired him for it.
Yes, they did.
Because he was being disloyal.
Yes.
Those kind of families, it can be really bad. You've heard about how one that I like is the medical one, where medical mistakes are covered up.
Yeah.
Because the doctors and the nurses won't tell on each other, and it's a
form of really toxic loyalty.
Yes. It happens in the police, the military, all of that.
Right.
So and even for me, the whistleblowers, that's I had a top secret clearance when I was in the military, and the idea of betraying the country by exposing secrets, just even now, it just makes me nervous. But I can see there are two sides to that situation.
Okay.
So it's if you're looking for perfection, you're not going to find it.
Okay, Jason, what is a quick tip for this segment?
Many people strive for perfection, to be perfect according to expectations that come from others, whether it's family expectations or group expectations. It can create difficulty and extreme stress, whether they are followed or rejected. So even if you reject them, doesn't mean that you haven't. It doesn't create stress and difficulty. Right. These expectations are never perfect according to the individual, or being perfect according to your individual essence. Taking a practical approach to these expectations will always work. However, implementing them can be very painful, and the solution is using the ecosystem approach to remove that toxic connections and programming. Removing many of the memories and compulsions to follow these rules, even if they don't come from you, can take a long time, but can be the most satisfying thing that you ever do
in your life.
Yes.
I love that. To get rid of them.
Yep.
Yes. In the next segment, we're going to talk about being perfect with your essence versus being practical in the world with your life. That's going to be interesting. Could this be the most important issue we ever talk about?
Wow.
This is the Ecosystem Approach Show, unscripted, with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about being perfect with your essence versus being practical in the world with your life. This could be the most important issue we ever talk about. Okay, Jason, what do you mean to be perfect with your essence? I think that's a really good question.
Okay, well, technically, in this world today, the way we see it,
yes,
I see for the majority of people that will be really, really difficult. And when I say by perfect, I mean removing all the negative energy that's attached to you in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org, sign up for a free section. We have two articles, a two-part article about the 80%, because we see that when people come in, they already have huge amounts of negative energy.
Connected to them. Yes,
80% of their asset,
yes.
which is really toxic in and of itself. It was never intended to be, human beings were never intended to be that, have that much negative energy and to be that toxic.
That's right.
You know, so but being perfect with your essence is about removing that negative energy, at least, you know, as in 2023. Now, maybe 50 or 100 years from now, if people are using the ecosystem approach, which is what we hope,
yes,
then they'll come in with less negative energy
and have less to deal with,
and get there
and have a clearer picture about not only who they are, but where they're going.
Because theoretically, you can use the ecosystem approach. If you theoretically had no negative energy attached to you,
correct,
you could still use the ecosystem approach to work on who you are authentically. For example,
okay,
I think this is an important point.
Okay,
I'm not talking about you because you're my favorite topic. So
okay,
but Patricia has this. It's called the North Node and South Node, which is about her purpose. And a North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. And there's a relationship there that makes it difficult because on one hand, the Pisces is very creative and very loving and very caring with everybody around and her family. And the Virgo is very fixed and perfectionist and wants to control and wants to
can't be.
Yeah. So when she tries to be the Pisces, the Virgo's holding her back, and it's a constant struggle back and forth.
Yes.
That particular dynamic can be cleared. We can work with that energy for that.
Correct.
It doesn't have to be. She doesn't have to fate her. If you know about astrology, there are what they call squares and difficult relationships in your natal chart. They can be cleared and resolved over time using this approach.
Yeah, I love that.
But right now, it's more about removing the negative energy. So let me be more specific. People like it when I'm very specific. I don't like to give formulas and recipes because they become black and white. But here's some ideas. So if you want to be perfect according to your essence, or as much as you can, you start with trying to see the negative energy that's attached to you.
And how do you do that?
One of the ways that we do it is understanding your Enneagram type.
Correct.
The Enneagram is a personality typing system that helps you understand the negative energy that's attached to you through your personality.
Correct.
So it describes personality compulsions. So if you have the compulsion to straighten that picture, I'm giving my producer a hard time because we were talking about that at the break. But if you have that, to straighten that picture or whatever, those compulsions come from negative energy. We all have them.
Yes.
I'm a 6. My compulsion is to be secure and to eliminate fear as much as I can, but it's really fear-based.
Right.
You're a 4. The compulsion is to be emotional and see things in an emotional way.
What you mean.
And we've been working on those things, and as we clear more and more, we're less constrained by those compulsions.
That's right.
But your Enneagram type, knowing that and knowing it accurately, can really help you understand, because those compulsive behaviors reflect the negative energy attached to you.
Correct.
The other thing is to, once you know your type, your Enneagram type, you can use it to uncover your emotional story.
Correct.
For me, being a 6, what created the fear in my life that wanted me to compulsively pursue security, and
correct.
I can, as I start to uncover that story, and with clearing, you don't do it cognitively. You don't do it. You can't sit down and figure it out. Like, the thinking man, you can't just sit down and figure it out. You need to use an energy approach, because that's when this stuff is revealed.
Correct. And by the way, the thinking man should have put his pants on.
Yeah, well, okay. But anyways, so you can't figure this out by thinking. You have to use an energy approach, and that's the way to do it. And so we've been doing this now. It's getting close to 25 years.
It is. We
still get perceptions about our emotional story, and we're talking. That's one of our main conversations between us.
Yes.
Is, oh, well, I see this about your emotional story. That's what we need to clear.
Yeah.
And I see this about your emotional story. I need to clear it, because what happens is that we kind of know the broad
strokes of the whole thing. Yes.
But as you clear more and more,
the details start coming out,
and the details are what makes the difference.
Yes.
So
that's why we say clear specifically.
Yes. Removing negative energy constantly, consistently, and specifically
exactly
is the way to start to be perfect with your own essence.
Exactly.
And that specifically comes from uncovering your emotional story.
Exactly.
And you can start with your Enneagram type.
Exactly.
If you're an 8, why are you aggressive, in certain situations?
Correct.
If you're a 7, why do you have to keep busy all the time?
Yes.
If you're a 9, why do you have to keep peace?
All the time.
What happened in your life
that
made you, or the 1, which is, I guess we should have brought that up first, the perfectionist,
yes,
who has to make everything just right, and everything has to be a certain way.
Yes.
And what caused you to believe that would make your life better? All those things. So
to me, very, very, very interesting.
So let's do some clearing to show how we could do this. Okay. That's why I put this in here. So if you, and we're going to teach you how to do this in just a minute, but just follow along. This is what we say: I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the guilt I feel when I don't live according to my family's expectations. That's about the programming of trying to be perfect.
Correct.
We're all programmed that way. So just as you and we say that, and to eliminate the guilt I feel when I don't live according to my family's expectations, take a breath, gather it up, blow it into the processor. Sierra, if you can put the processor up, that would be perfect.
Thank you.
And blow it into that little trash can on wheels.
Yes.
That's how you do it. Here's another one. And to eliminate acting in a way that makes my parents happy, but is not authentic to me or my essence.
That's correct.
So gather up, acting in that way, and blow it into the processor. Here's another one.
Okay.
And to eliminate the confusion I have, because I have no idea who I am when I don't follow my parents or my family's expectations. Well, we need to find that out.
Yes.
That's why you need to be perfect with your essence, because that's where that information is contained.
Exactly. And it will tell you, and especially if you're using the ecosystem approach, you will be able to start to, and I'm going to say, hear or understand or even see, if I don't follow my parents' expectations, what is it that you really want? And you'll be able to, over time, deal with it, because this is not a 1, 2, 3 program. We'll put it that way. And I hate that word program, of course. Sorry. But the bottom line is it has made such a difference for me in my family's expectations. I'll start with that one. And all the
but
guilt.
It's taken a long time too.
It really, really
Oh
has.
my gosh. Yeah.
Yes. But I wouldn't change that part for anything. If I could go back and redo it, the biggest change that I would make is that I would have met him sooner.
Yes.
That would have been That would have been my change or my desire.
But we can still have a lot of fun.
We do have a lot of fun. Yes, we
Okay.
do. So, Jason, what is the quick tip? Are we done with that part?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what is the quick tip?
Most people are not living according to their essence, but their whole life is designed around other people's expectations.
Yes.
OMG. These expectations are usually toxic and out of alignment with each other's individual essence.
Correct.
They are also sourced from dark, evil energy that seeks to block evolution and free will.
Correct.
The way out is removing the negative energy that contains the expectations and the training to be out of alignment with your essence.
Right.
The ecosystem approach can be a time-consuming process, but it could be the most fulfilling in your life and is always worth the effort.
Exactly. So, Jason, we have a minute or so to let's talk to everybody about how to remove negative energy.
So you can take any posture you want. You can be sitting, standing, laying down, standing on your head. You can be walking,
yes,
which is one of my favorite ways of doing it.
Yeah.
We do that on our walk in the morning. You could even be exercising, swimming or
that is correct.
Running. So, and then we use the words "and to eliminate." This preamble that we have is to kind of set you up, and then we don't have to say it every single time for every single correct statement. You just say it once, and then you just shorten it up and say "to eliminate."
Exactly.
And you gather up, starting tips of your toes, and then blow it
into the processor or a garbage can. And the reason we do that is we've got enough toxic energy, not only in us but hanging around in the world. Throw it into the garbage can. So after you've done all this work, or even one removing of negative energy, so you don't get back up, or you stand back up and walk right back into it, and it just as if you've done nothing.
Well, the whole point of the processor is to process it so it comes out neutral.
That's correct.
So you're really getting rid of negative
energy correct.
In the world.
So with that said, stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to help you remove the desire to be perfect according to someone else's rules and help you be more in alignment with the authentic perfection of your essence. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to help you remove the desire to be perfect according to someone else's rules and help you be more in alignment with the authentic perfection of your essence. Jason, you ready?
Yes.
Good.
Here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see the world we live in is a very imperfect one.
Yes. Take a breath and blow out any negative energy. And to eliminate the stress, anxiety, and overwhelm that I have trying to be perfect based on someone else's rules and beliefs. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that trying to be perfect today is about being perfect according to someone else's programming and beliefs and rules that may not be perfect for me.
Yes.
Take a breath.
And to eliminate the compulsion to be perfect that comes from the toxic need for approval, love, and respect from others. And I know he wrote this one directly for me. Take a breath.
The veils and illusions so I can see that real approval comes from being perfect with your own essence. Your essence is what's designed. As human beings, we're designed to have our essence give us approval and confidence.
Correct.
And this is who we are in the world. And
clarity.
I don't care what anybody else thinks. This is who I am. Take it or leave it.
Yes.
We all yearn for that kind of feeling.
Yes, we do.
But very few of us really have that.
Yes. Take a breath and blow out any negative energies. And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that using the ecosystem approach is the best way to be perfect with my essence. or your essence. Nice and easy. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that trying to be perfect according to family rules and beliefs can be toxic for me.
Take a breath.
That's almost heresy.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly right. And to eliminate the intense feelings of worry, anxiety, and stress that comes from trying to be perfect that doesn't serve me. Take a breath. Yes.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that a major source of corruption, hypocrisy, and false belief come from family programming and secrets and positive intentions that aren't true.
Yes, take a breath. And to eliminate the anger and bitterness and resentment I have trying to be perfect with rules that don't serve me and never have. Take a breath.
And to eliminate my fear that the ecosystem approach is too hard for me and that I can't do it, but it's not true.
Take a breath. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that being in alignment with my essence is the most satisfying thing I can do in life. Wow, that's amazing. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate any feelings of fear and terror that I have because I haven't been perfect in the rules that I've accepted but are not mine.
Yes, take
a breath.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can feel right now the power from my essence that is truly and authentically me. Take a breath. Jason, you ready to?
Yes, let's
all right, here we go. Follow along, everyone. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force so I can use life force for me, for how I see things and how I want to take care of me and then the rest of the world. And by the way, the rest of the world can just be your family. Nice and easy. Pull in that life force. Let it go to the tips of your toes. Ask it to stop there and to turn around and blow out any negative energy left over. Go ahead.
And to activate life force so I can have hope to be perfect with my own essence and feel the power that comes from that.
Yes, take a breath. And to activate life force so I can trust that the programming and the rules that I'm trying to be perfect for may not be good for me. Take a breath, pull it in, and blow it out.
And to activate life force so I can decide to only be perfect with my essence, not all those other rules and expectations that that probably or may not be perfect for me.
Yes, take a breath. And blow it out. And to activate life force so I can be happy and healthy, have clarity, courage, confidence, and, well, this one's for me, an objectivity about how I see and do life, not completely, but starting today and then every day. Nice and easy. Pull that in. Activate laughter and love and power for yourself as well. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
You know, we've been doing this for a while. We've been channeling the different planets.
Yes.
And next week, we're going to channel Uranus.
Okay.
And it's the root for the age of Aquarius. You've heard me talk. I am just in love with this idea of the age of Aquarius.
Yes.
And this planet is as an energy source. So we've been doing this because when you channel individual planets, you can bring in the energy from those planets to help you with your daily life. It's like a whole toolbox of tools
that we've never understood the access that we've had.
It's completely free.
Yeah.
It's unlimited. And all you have to do is know how to use each of these tools in just a little bit with just a little bit of information. For example, this planet is an energy source for truly thinking outside of the box, We talk about it, but our programming limits us, so we don't think outside of the box.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this one.
It's about being very creative. It's about individual empowerment. So if you want to have that feeling inside of you that says, yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Uranus energy is it. So it also helps you with electronic devices. Oh, and I just realized this, and this is before next week, but we can activate Uranus energy. So when you're trying to use your computer and you're getting really frustrated, that'll help you.
Hey, ask me to dance and sing. I can help you with that.
So it's a very important for your life, very important energy for your life. So if we spoke to you today, if somehow you said, oh my gosh, I'm living someone else's life, I'm trying to be perfect according to rules and expectations that aren't me, that don't come from my essence, they come from somebody else. And I want more of this. I want to know more about this ecosystem approach.
Right.
Here's what you do. It's very, very simple. First of all, go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org. It's all one word, the THE ecosystem approach and .org, O-R-G, and sign up for a free section. We won't spam you. We're not going to, all we ask for is your email address. So that's all you have to have. We don't ask for your mother's maiden name or anything like that, you know, and we have lots of content there that's all free. You'll get the weekly newsletter, which is has the clearings written out. It shows you all the words to say and to blow it in the processor, and a little blurb about the story of the week that we didn't talk about, and what's coming up for next week. It's that simple.
I absolutely love that. What about Facebook, Jason?
Go to our Facebook page, theecosystemapproach.org. While you're there, please like us. All of our videos are there.
Okay.
And you can see them there. They're also on YouTube.
Yes. Okay. So we'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.